Hello, everybody. I think it's almost afternoon, so good afternoon, everyone. I have about 10 minutes, and I will only take, roughly 10 minutes and talk to you about something very different from some of the conversations that have been happening this morning. My name is Swetha Kochar. I'm a partner at PKC Consulting. Prior to PKC, I used to be with McKinsey and Company in Bombay, and I used to work directly with CEOs of Spencer's Retail and other large Indian retailers. And for the last 8 years, I've been here at PKC. So, what is it that we see? So, what do we basically do at PKC? There are so many, there's so many softwares being sold to retailers today, right? There's so much automation tech that's being spoken about. But what we do here at PKC is actually help founders, and retail senior management teams get out of day-to-day operations by using whatever software platform that you have, whatever piece of technology that you have, by putting in the right systems and processes so that employees across the board can use the software technology. And ultimately, as a founder, you get dashboards, and all of your decision making is based on the data and dashboards that you get without having to be involved in day-to-day operations. And what's the USP that we operate on? It's entirely implementation. So there's no advice that we don't implement with your people. Because I think as retailers, you would know your business better than anybody outside can know. So implementation is a big part of the work that we do. And these are some of the problems that we help retailers solve. They're, getting founders out of routine operations, which is, let's say, purchase, store planning, salesman productivity, getting them out of all of this and giving them time to focus on, new stores, new products, long-term strategy. So our principle and what we have driven for several clients is spending 2 days a week on operations and the remaining 4 days on actually longer term growth for the company itself. And this in reality, I will show you for a few clients. Increasing costs is another common problem, and shrinking margins. Also a dependency of the retail founders on a few key employees in the company. And there's always that fear that if they leave, my business will get affected. So removing that kind of core dependency, and even the employees that are there sometimes don't tend to take that kind of accountability. There's a lot of follow-up that needs to be done by the CEO team or by the MD's team to get results out of the employees. There's also poor purchase planning. So I think inventory is the holy grail of retail, right? Good inventory management can define success or death in retail. And if this process can be mastered using a combination of technology and the right processes, then success is inevitable. There's also a lot of second generation, third generation that is walking into retail today, that is taking over businesses from their fathers and grandfathers, and they want to live differently, right? They want to grow very fast, and they want all of the data to be on mobile, to be on their computer systems. Even though they lack the experience, they think that with the smartness of data, they will be able to grow even faster than their parents have. And that is something also that that we enable. So all of these can actually be solved with what we call PKC's retail systems and processes. And a little bit about the firm: we have more than 1,500 clients, and 95% retention, which means once we start working with a client, then we continue to work with them on something or the other. We have a team of 100 consultants, experts on our payrolls, and a very old firm, close to 35 years old. These are some of the clients and what kind of work we did to give you an understanding, right? So one is a client called Vivek's. This is a smaller 250 crore electronics retailer. And here we automated so many. They had SAP, they were using the SAP platform, but still there was so much potential to automate manual things that they were doing that we drove down employee costs by 14.7% using the existing software itself that they had. Automation was done across purchase, sales, warehouse, merchandising, all of that. There was also a lot of management time being spent on merchandising and purchase planning. which we reduced, which we automated to a large extent. Also, employee-wise, across the company, roles were fixed and KPIs were given. And if they didn't perform, there was an escalation, because fixing roles, I think everybody would have done. But the challenge is, do people really perform up to the expectation of the, MD or CEO? And for that, if they don't perform, there needs to be a consequence. There needs to be an escalation that comes, and that's what enables the success of these roles. The next company is a company called Pothys. It's a 2,000 crore, largely textile retailer, where we drove, again, through our effective systems, processes, and implementation, almost a 40% reduction in their warehouse stock. Also converted some people dependent. So the company was dependent on a few key people, few key purchase managers, warehouse managers, to a process-driven company where it didn't matter if anybody quit, anybody else joined. Everybody in the company knew this is how Pothys operates. And if we do it this way, this is the software entry, this will get locked here, this will get picked up in the dashboards. So it doesn't matter who came in or went, they knew this is the role that they need to perform. And here is some feedback from Mr. Ramesh, who is the owner and MD of Pothys. He says, PKC solutions are simple and practical. We've been using their systems for more than a year and are very satisfied with the results. This is another. Manor Dairy is a company in Madhya Pradesh, Bhopal. They are into F&B retail, where the founders were very involved in the running of the business, which we could reduce successfully to 2 days a week rather than 6 days a week. And while they did that, they could also double their retail store count. So it's not that if we reduce time, growth slows. It actually grows faster because you're spending time on more meaningful things. And we used whatever software that they had and enabled almost 90% implementation of that. So they had a very small software called Busy. No Fundu, SAP, none of that. Automate so many manual things that they were doing and set up so many locks and checks that the management team could effectively step back. And the last one is a company called iPlanet. It's approximately 1,000 crore company. So we work small to large kind of companies where we could increase revenue 3.25 crores and also drive up profits. And how we did that is through schemes. We did a whole bunch of things, but then one of the things was through schemes. In electronics retail, you LG, Samsung, right? Everybody gives schemes, and if that's tracked effectively, that could lead to a huge jump in profits. And again, some feedback. And we chose to have this because most of the time people think, consultants will come, they'll say, but pata nahi wo kya hoga, wo kya jante hain, right? That's the usual, usual notion. But our work is slightly different, as Mr. Shankar Baisani has shared. The fear of solutions maybe on paper was washed away by PKC systematic implementation. So how do we do all of this, right? When we say that it's not high level, how we do it is, first, like I said, we implement every piece of advice that we share. There is no fancy PPT that we show you. When we start doing an engagement, we work with every employee on the shop floor, your managers and the senior management team to bring that change. That's one. Second, we have a team that sits full-time out of your location. Because otherwise the solutions will be very superficial. We won't understand your culture, your constraints, your people, capabilities. Without all of that, we cannot give effective solutions. So our teams are permanently based out of your site and they're custom fit to your business. And this is done by first understanding what the current process is. There's no point changing just for the heck of it, right? Everybody will have a few problems. Let's say margins are lower, or it could be one department is not effectively communicating with another department, or it could be, work is not happening within the defined time. So the problem could be, or, the stores are not maybe merchandised the way they should be. So there may be specific problems that you're facing. So we identify those, why those happen, and we design solutions. And I'll show you some of the designs. But the effective thing after that is, the most important thing is the deploy, where we will work with your teams to implement the whole thing and sustain them for the next 10 years. And that sustenance is through a large part of culture change and technology. So these are some of the solutions. We have picked just 2-3 amongst the hundreds that we have done. So this is a solution that was built on the client software, where we automated their purchase process. The green means the PO will be automatically generated and the purchase order will be placed. Red means that somebody has to override. It is not allowing that purchase. And this was done through a combination of salesmen salesmen across their stores saying, "Acha, ye maal chahiye, wo chahiye," and the software using trends, and its all algorithm saying, "Yeah, this makes sense or this doesn't make sense." So the management or the purchase team only gets involved when there is an escalation. This is actually applicable to all categories of retail. When stock comes into the warehouse or into the store, how do we know that this is what we ordered? And the price at which it has come is what we negotiated. We spent so much time negotiating at the PO stage. But when it came, did it come at the same price or was the item defective? Very common problem, right? Could be very small, but I mean, it could change every stock is incorrect. So we have the solution where using at the time of entry, the warehouse person has to count the stock. He has no idea what was ordered, how much was ordered, at what price it was ordered. He needs to independently put in that information, and that gets cross-checked with the order by an independent, independent accounts team or any other employee in your organization. And it's very seamless. It makes sure that the stock gets fed in that same day. It moves to the warehouse. It moves to the store that same day. Whole process. So if you see, the solutions are very detailed, very on ground, nothing high level. This is another procurement planning tool for a company. This is a very interesting one. So there's no SOP. So if you see, we don't come and deliver big books of SOPs to any organization. What we do is we say, this is the new way in which the company will work. This is how the purchase will work. This is how sales will work. This is how finance, HR, admin will work. And for that, we ultimately break it down into this matrix. We say, if you are a purchase HOD, purchase manager, purchase executive at this company, then these are the 5 things that you need to do. The periodicity at which you need to do it, monthly, quarterly, and what is the format or what is the software entry that you need to pass to make this happen. Okay, and if you don't do this, what is also the consequence? So that can also be added into this. So it doesn't matter if anybody leaves. Everybody knows that these are my tasks, and these are my KPIs, and this is what I need to complete. So it becomes a very self-sustaining organization. And this is a sample of the implementation. So every piece of change that we make at a company very meticulously is tracked and implemented. So if you see here, it shows percentage of compliance across departments, which my team moves effectively. So this is I don't know why this is not playing. This is supposed to be playing as a video. Could you just click on it, please? So ultimately, right, after all of this detailing is done at the retail organization, for the founders, we leave you with a dashboard, right? We have our own technology, or we can work with whatever you have, where we leave you with a dashboard which shows you all the information about your retail business that you need to know, right? So it gives you idea on sales, on margins, on employees, and you can double click on anything and see what
business insights on a real-time basis. Analyze the data with desired filters and metrics. Detailed view of business information to control key operations. In-depth analysis of stock data for effective inventory management and take decisions at the right time to avoid excess stock or understock. Make data-driven decisions with PKC's custom dashboard.
So the beauty of this thing is that nobody's making it for the founders. This is auto-generated from your ERP itself. So we link it with your ERP, because the minute somebody is making reports for you, you don't know if you can trust it or not, because they know, sir ko ye matlab sawal puchenge if this number is above or below this. So this comes directly from whatever ERP you use, and we can make it sit on anything. So just to sum it up, the solutions that we have are systems and process solutions to get founders out of operations, automate manual work, manage your procurement and inventory, automate that, are essentially very easy and simple, entirely automated, digital, scalable and implementable on ground. These are some of the clients that we have worked with extensively. Most of them have been clients for more than 10-15 years. So thank you. Thanks for your patient listening. Delighted to be here at RAI again.